Our next incredible child voice presenter has a huge heart. Max Tancredi. Max Tancredi is 10 years old and loves to play soccer. Max goes to Springwood Road State School and is in grade 5. Today, Max wants to discuss with you the difference between fairness and equality. I can't talk. Equality, I mean. Max says, I think that there are things that adults could do to make things fairer for all kids in Logan, so that what we can all be our best self. Please welcome the amazing concerned community citizen, Max Tancredi. Max Tancredi.
Hi, I'm Max Tancredi, a 10-year-old student at Springwood Road State School, and I love to play soccer. Today, I'm going to tell you about an issue that concerns me. I'm concerned that not all kids are treated fairly because sometimes adults treat kids all the same way and assume that we get what we need. This is concerning because despite us being similar ages, some of us require different attention or have different needs. However, I worry not all children are getting what they need to be their best selves. To see if other people agree with me, I asked 10 kids and adults from my school if they thought it was fair to be treated equally. 8 out of those 10 all said no. Then, I asked them why it wasn't fair to be treated equally. These are the responses I got. The first person said, "We're all different." The second person said, "They need to be treated how they are." And finally, the last person said, "Some people need extra treatment or extra support." So most people did agree that not all kids are treated fairly. In my own life, there have been 2 examples of equality that have made me upset and are the reason I'm speaking here today. The first thing that made me upset was the day I realized my friend was coming to school every day with no food and no lunchbox. Day after day, he would continue to come to school, going unnoticed. Then, one day me and my teacher both found out, and we helped him. But what if people don't notice? We need systems in place to make sure kids don't fall through the cracks. My friend is not alone. Although we live in such a wealthy country, some kids still come to school without a stomach full of food and no lunchbox. In fact, 1 in 5 kids come to school hungry. Imagine trying to learn when your stomach is empty and your brain switches off. This is the reality for many kids. A way we can prevent this is by the government providing school lunches, which would be divvied out to all children, and those who can't afford it will get it free. Then, everyone gets the same as each other, and no one is left feeling that their food's not good enough. The UK have had a school lunch program like this since 1906. That's nearly 120 years. The UK school lunch program was actually in the news not that long ago. When schools had to close during the COVID pandemic, it meant that kids would no longer get breakfast club or lunches provided by schools. Famous English footballer Marcus Rashford, who plays for Manchester United, but won't hold that against him, found out about this. He said, "What are the kids going to eat?" What I think he really meant by this was, what would these lockdowns have meant for Marcus Rashford when he was 7? Could he have still become a pro footballer? So Marcus Rashford and other celebrities decided to campaign the government that every child in need will get 1 free meal a day, whether schools were open or not. And they were successful. Here's a good example of how much something simple, like getting lunch, can help you be your best self. Another example of things not being fair is sport and other outside school activities. What I mean by this is some kids' families can find the right sport or club for them and can afford to pay for it, while others find themselves feeling that they're not being treated fairly. I know there are vouchers to help pay for kids' sport, but they don't cover nearly enough, especially for kids who are good enough to play at the top level in their sport. The average cost for a kid to play a community level sport is just under $1,000, And for those who are good enough to play in an elite team, it can cost up to $3,000 a year. I used to play football with a boy with many siblings. Because of this situation, he would often either miss training or turn up halfway through. Toward the start of the season, he would even miss games. Other kids' parents began to think that he was lazy. That made me angry because, really, my friend's family didn't have access to transport or even Google Maps on their phone, which is a thing people just take for granted. At the end of his first season playing with me, our team separated. Because my friend's family was busy with lots of other things, they didn't realize there was an opening at another club. The position was advertised, but the information was only online, meaning they had to find it, read it, then get to the trials on the right day at the right time. Not all families can access this kind of information. So me and my friend went along together and we both made the team. This story is a good example of how treating everyone equally doesn't mean you're treating them fairly. Sometimes people need different support. A way to prevent this problem is for adults to work out how we can develop a Make-A-Wish foundation, but for those disadvantaged families. It could help pay for sport and help with transport. We also need to look out for our friends instead of being competitive. Most children can make what they need out of the equal environment given, but some find themselves feeling that they're not being treated fairly. When adults don't pay attention, they just look past problems and think they can make judgments without actually understanding what's going on. For most kids, this can really hurt their self-esteem. There are over 100,000 kids in Logan, and I'm one of them, so it doesn't feel good to watch something happen to a peer. Constantly, teachers and parents are telling us that everybody's different. If this fact's true, then why to this day are kids still being treated equally? Us kids shouldn't be treated the same just because we're all kids. We should be treated fairly, the way each of us needs to do our best and to outgrow our limits. Fairness isn't giving everybody the same, it's giving people what they need to have the same capabilities. Every day that adults don't act to make the world a fairer place, children in our community are missing out on opportunities fit for them. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I hope that you decide to take action and make this the new, fair, and equal reality.